Okay, so this time, let's start talking about our first major type of tissue, which is our epithelial tissue. All right. So, for the epithelial tissue, it is basically composed of first your cells, as with all other tissues, no, it should contain cells, and then second, it should have a basement membrane, which will basically contain all the cells, no? This basement membrane is a key characteristic of your epithelial tissue. Only your epithelial tissue has your basement membrane because the cells of your epithelial tissue are basically very closely packed, and since they are closely packed, they would also need an anchor or a basement membrane or mat or a sheet wherein they could anchor themselves, okay? And this basement membrane also separates the epithelial tissue from the underlying different types of tissue, which is almost always your connective tissue. So this connective tissue, we will talk about this in another time. But for today, at least we will talk about the epithelial tissue, and we know that the cells of your epithelial tissue is separated from the cells of other tissues, usually your connective tissue, through your basement membrane. This basement membrane it is also very thin, also allows for cell communication as well as signaling. So it's very thin, it facilitates the fast flow of cellular communication and signaling. What else? Since your cells of your epithelial tissue are very closely packed, then it would have your intercellular junctions. These structures or these intercellular junctions are basically the areas of adhesion between the different adjacent cells. Okay? So they would maintain the tissue integrity and function of your epithelial tissue. This intercellular junction is also a very somewhat unique characteristic of your epithelial tissue. Intercellular junctions are present because the cells of your epithelial tissue need to be closely packed together. Okay? What else? The epithelial tissue among all the four types of tissue that we will discuss throughout the semester is avascular. In most cases, this is because there is no space for the presence of blood vessels, diba? Because the cells are closely packed, which makes sense. That's why nutrients and wastes and other cellular ways, chemical ways of communicating and signaling just passes through the basement membrane. Okay? There are two types of epithelium tissue or epithelial tissue. The first one that we will be discussing is your lining epithelium. Your lining epithelium is also known as your covering or surface epithelium. Okay? The second type would be your glandular epithelium. So it's also epithelial tissue, but this time it is somewhat shaped differently and it has a different function. So let's go back first to your lining or covering surface. Based from its name, its function is to serve as a barrier, okay, against outside particles or the outside environment, and it keeps the inside parts or other tissues within the tissue or the organ separate from the outside environment. Okay, which makes sense, no? Because if there is a lumen, a space, no, almost always there will be a lining epithelium covering the organ or the separating the connective tissue or other type of tissue from the outside area. Okay, so it basically serves as a barrier, no? It prevents outside stimuli, chemicals, whatever, from entering the inner parts of other tissues or organs. Okay? Exchange regulator, since it is the barrier, it is the one which usually decides which particles to allow to go deeper into the tissues and which to just keep outside. And since it is the one that is most near the outside area, the most exposed to the environment, it's also the one which usually detects stimuli. Okay? For the structure, it is a continuous flat layer with different cell shapes. Flat, quote unquote, no? Technically, it is basically a sheet which basically conforms to the shape of the quote unquote container or organ or tissue structure which it is covering or enveloping. Okay? While for the glandular epithelium, its main function is not really to serve as a barrier, but its main function, stemming from its name, is to produce and secrete substances. Okay? For the structure, actually, it's basically like your lining or covering surface epithelium, but it has invaginated deeply into the underlying tissues, and because it has morphed into another structure, and it formed structures which are more specialized in producing something instead of covering something. Okay, so it invaginated and it just inserted itself deeply and formed secretory units, which are usually in the form of clusters of secretory structures. No, so they, since they do not function to cover or to serve as a barrier, they do not, the cells of your glandular epithelium do not need to spread itself into a sheet-like covering. Okay? So that those are the main differences. Again, their function um, dictates their morphology and vice versa. Okay? For the lining epithelium, it's very simple, no? The nomenclature or the way on how we identify or name or categorize the lining epithelium or the barrier lining sheet-like version of your epithelium would be first via the shape of the uppermost cell layer. Second, it is based on the number of these cell layers. First, let's talk about the cell shapes, no? We have the squamous, flat-like, pancake-like, and I'm sure maybe some of you have already observed squamous-like cells, and this would be your what? If you ever tried scraping the insides of your cheek and then spreading it on the microscope and then putting a stain on it and viewing it under a microscope, then you will see like you will see the top view of the cell, and it will usually look like a fried egg, diba? With the nucleus looking like a yolk. Okay, so that would be your squamous or flat cell shape. Then you would have your cuboidal, or cells that are usually polygonal or round when seen, when the cross section or in the side view. This is so because cuboidal cells of your lining epithelium are as tall as they are wide, usually equal. Okay? While the last shape type is your columnar, wherein the cells are a lot taller than they are wide. So, column shaped siya. Alright? So, if these cells are only present in a single layer, then you will call this epithelium or epithelia as simple squamous, simple cuboidal, or simple columnar. But for the simple columnar, there are subtypes or subcategories because these columnar cells, especially in the apical part of the cells or the cells which are most exposed to the outside surface and are not in the basal or the part of the cell, or the one basal part is of course attached to the basement membrane, di ba? So the basement membrane key point is opposite of the apical area and opposite of the lumen or space. Okay? So in this lumen or space, there are usually substances that need to be exported So in order to facilitate or help these cells or substances to flow through the lumen, you would need to have your cilia. Or if in this lumen there are nutrients from food substances that need to be absorbed into the body, you would have to have an increase in surface area in the structure of your microvilli. So, yan, no? So, actually, under the microscope, guys, your cilia and microvilli looks a little bit the same, but you would know which they are depending on the specific organ or location. Of course, some areas of the body are specifically for the absorption of nutrients, such as your intestines. So, if you see small brush-like structures there, then you can say that those are microvilli for absorption, for increasing the surface area. While if you see this brush-like border somewhere in the passages of your respiratory system, wherein it's not the intention of your respiratory system to absorb nutrients over food, right? So this is for the um, transit or expelling of particles, foreign substances trapped by the mucus. Okay? So this would be your, either your phlegm or your snot, your sipon. Okay? So, those are the specializations seen in the apical surface of your simple columnar epithelium, while another variation of simple columnar epithelium would be the presence of goblet cells. No? These goblet cells are specialized cells that are basically unicellular glands. We will talk more about that later in the glandular type of epithelium, but it can also be described here in the lining epithelium, wherein there's goblet cells which are shaped like goblet glasses of wine because the upper part has inclusion bodies, muci or mucus. Okay, so you can combine this with this, and you would have simple columnar epithelium with goblet cells and cilia, or ciliated simple columnar epithelium with goblet cells is also possible. Or you can also have simple columnar epithelium with microvilli and goblet cells is also possible. Okay, so combinations. Then, in your simple type of lining epithelium, you have a special one. It's so special and weird looking that it has an entirely different way of naming it. This would be your pseudostratified columnar epithelium. So, pseudo, when we say pseudo, it means what? Fake, right? Stratified. What does stratified mean? Stratum, strata. When you say stratum, anong naiisip natin? What do we think of? More of like the stratum, strata in the society, right? The rich ones, the middle class, and then the poor ones, etc. So it's the same banana, no? Stratum basically means layers and levels, no? So this cell only contains one layer, despite it looking fakely stratified, fake layered columnar cells. This is so because there are multiple, seemingly multiple layers or more than one layer of nuclei. This is so because some cells, such as these one, are not able to reach the apical surface, while some cells, such as these ones, are able to reach the apical surfaces. So, depending if they're able to reach the apical surface or not, then their cell nuclei will be on a slightly different layer. Okay? Usually, this type of pseudostratified columnar epithelium is seen in areas wherein there is a need to replace cells. Usually these cells which are in touch with the basement membrane, actually all of them are connected to the basement membrane, but not all of them reach the apical surface or the lumen. And the cells which are only seen at the bottom part or are only in the bottom part, they are usually your stem cells. And as they will differentiate into mature cells, specialized cells, they will reach the surface eventually. Then they will have this position. Okay? Next, let's talk about your stratified. So again, stratified means multiple layers. If there is more than one layer of cells and it is not pseudo or fake, then you will have your stratified epithelium. And the naming is just you combine it with the shape of the topmost layer. As in here, the topmost layer is flat, so the name is stratified squamous epithelium. Okay? And not cuboidal because the top layer is flat despite the deeper layers having a cuboidal shape. So again, only the top layer. It is named only for the top layer. See, stratified cuboidal and stratified columnar. Okay, so usually we would see stratified cuboidal and squamous cells. For the stratified columnar, this is not readily seen, but usually seen in only two layers. So usually they would say, some references would say bistratified, but if you say stratified, it's the same banana, it's okay, as long as we know that there is more than one layer, wherein other cells are not touching the basement membrane. Okay, the stratified columnar epithelium is usually seen lining the ducts of bigger glands. Okay, hopefully we see actual examples of this in the laboratory. Okay, stratified epithelium, sorry. And then we have your transitional stratified epithelium. So actually, transitional epithelium is basically a stratified epithelium, but we are running into some problem here because the shape of the topmost layer changes its shape depending on the shape of the organ. So sometimes the topmost layer offer transitional epithelium. So you can just call it transitional epithelium. You don't even have to say it as transitional stratified. Okay? So it doesn't matter. If you say transitional, you already know that it is a stratified type of epithelium with the topmost layer changing its shape depending on the function or the need of the organ. So for the topmost cell layer, sometimes the shape is cuboidal and sometimes it is flattened. So which organ system do you think needs this type of lining epithelium? Something that is sometimes big and filled with liquid and something that is sometimes empty and needs to contract. Yes, the urinary bladder, di ba? So the urinary bladder, if it is filled, it will have a stretched transitional epithelium to account for the increase in the surface area or the increase in the volume of the lumen, or transitional or relaxed if it is empty or contracted. Okay? And here are actual examples of your simple lining epithelium. So again, when trying to look for epithelial tissue, guys, the key point is first look for the lumen, the opening, the space. That is actually not an artifact, ha? It should be not an artifact. It should be an actual, real histological lumen or space. So for example, in this area, it would be this part, this part, this part, and this part. And in this part, we cannot see any space because we are looking at the top part of the cells, no? So here you can see the side view part, and you can see that some cells are facing this way and some cells we can assume are facing this way. Because there are two lumen, we can say that the basement membrane is somewhere in the middle. What else? Here, since there is a lumen in here, we can say that these are the one layer of flat cells, and the basement membrane is in the basal part of this flat cells, somewhere here. And this is also the same with this part. Basement membrane is in here, lumen is in here. And in this case, we cannot see the basement membrane because we are looking at the apical part, top view, and not side view or cross-sectional view of your simple squamous epithelium. But what we can appreciate from here is that the cells are tightly packed. Diba? There's no space or extracellular material in between. Okay? For the cuboidal, it's basically almost the same as your simple lining epithelium, but the cells are somewhat a little bit taller this time. And again, you would have your lumen. So this would be your basement membrane, and this would be your epithelial cells. Lumen, and the lumen is actually not just a space this time, but it contains the secretory secretions of these cells. So, this would be the apical surface, this will be the basal surface of the cells, and this will be your basement membrane. Okay? What else? Here, columnar cells. So, columnar cells are somewhat distinguishable from your um, cuboidal cells because usually they would have elongated nuclei, and these nuclei are usually placed either at the bottom part of the cell near the basement membrane or in the middle part. Okay, so if you would compare that with your cuboidal cells, the cuboidal cells usually would have a very circular shape of nucleus. And these are the special types of simple columnar epithelium that we were talking about earlier. The one with goblet cells and the one with, I think this would be your cilia. Okay, so here's your pseudostratified columnar epithelium, sorry, with goblet cells and either cilia or microvilli. But I think this would be your cilia or brush border. Okay, so again, usually seen in areas wherein there is a need to propel substances outside of the body. So ito, in this case, yung mucus. And then we have our stratified squamous epithelium. We have two types, the non-keratinized and keratinized. For keratinized, we have two subtypes again, the thin and thick. So for the non-keratinized, you can see that it doesn't have this translucent, pinkish, and no nuclei layer. Okay, because this layer is actually your keratin. Okay, your keratin comes from your keratinized cells, which are basically dead cells that have made themselves brittle and hard because they are already dead. And they are basically cells that have already quote unquote sacrificed themselves in order to perform the function of their epithelial tissue type because they are for keeping barrier and moisture inside, di ba? So where do you think can we see keratinized structures, keratinized lining epithelium? In our skin, 'di ba? Meron, no? So you had your thick and thin skin. What do you think is the main difference grossly between thin and thick keratinized? Right, your thick keratinized skin, since it's so thick, it cannot harbor or contain any hair follicles, which holds true because your thick keratinized skin are usually found in the foot pads, in the palms of your hands, in the sole of your feet, di ba? And of course, there's no hair in there, right? But in your thin keratinites, it's all the other skin surfaces, dry skin surfaces in your body which has hair. So although in these pictures, it does not show the actual hair follicles. Okay. What else? How about the non-keratinized? The non-keratinized will not have this hard layer. So this would be what? This would correspond to surfaces of your body that is more soft, pink, and moist. So that would be your mucous membranes. So areas of the body which are near the outside surface but not yet quite outside, that it doesn't need an extra layer of keratin, but is still possibly exposed to mechanical abrasion. For example, in the insides of your mouth, di ba? For the food that you eat. Or saan pa? The insides of your rectum, di ba? Your poop, imagine, di ba? So areas that need protection but do not have any major secretory nor absorptive properties. Okay? Stratified columnar usually is just until two layers. So yeah, cuboidal and columnar are both usually seen in larger ducts of glands, no? Usually, they are there because the larger the structure that you have to line, the more rigid it has to be, so the thicker the barrier epithelium needs to be. Okay? For the transitional epithelium, so ito siya, usually seen in the urinary bladder, as we said earlier. So sometimes the top cells are cuboidal. Actually, they're not cuboidal, no? Some references would say that they are balloon shaped. I would say they are, I don't know, ping pong paddle shaped or whatever, petal shaped, okay? Umbrella shaped is also okay, no? But you can see that it's definitely multi-layered And a lot of cells are not touching the basement membrane, so it's still under the stratified type of lining epithelium. What else? This one is a stretched version of transitional epithelium. So some cells look as if they are squamous. Okay. Again, lastly, no. So these everything that we have talked earlier is in this table, and you can use your time later to study more about it. And again, a summary of what we have talked about earlier. Okay. So that is all for your lining epithelium. Please do not forget to scan the attendance form.